This is an installation of children's shoes. The children's shoes are to represent the future of our children, so some of my grandchildren's shoes are amongst these hundreds of shoes here. Gloucester Council is still investing in fossil fuels, and we're trying to persuade them to stop doing that.
We've got near on 400 pairs of children's shoes spread out. They are symbolising our grief for the futures that many of our children will not have. With climate change, waters rise, both from the melting of the ice pack, but also just from the expansion of the water with increased temperature. Climate change is happening much faster than was predicted. 4 degrees climate change means probably quite widespread starvation, probably social breakdown, end of our civilization as we know it.
I'm driven to come here today because I've got grandchildren and because I lie in bed quite often at night worrying about what their future's going to be like. We're going to leave this planet in a place that's not safe for them, that's not sustainable for them. The sort of crisis that we're in, the biggest crisis that humanity has ever faced.
This is a time to change the economy, change the direction, get rid of the carbon industries, replace them with green industry. That is what the government has to get on with now, rather than going on and funding the carbon industry.
We've arranged the shoes just around this amazing old beech tree, which is thought to be possibly the 3rd oldest in the country, maybe 800 years old. Beech are actually quite shallow-rooted and they're thin-skinned, thin bark. So as our climate changes and we start to have higher winds and more droughts and more intense periods of heat, then beech trees may really start to suffer and we may be losing our beech trees. With these root patterns, we're talking about the amazing life that's in the soil. And this is also very important for sequestering carbon, keeping carbon in the soil, out of the atmosphere. By playing in nature, children learn to connect with nature and they make that bond. They learn to love what they're among. And, we can't protect anything unless we love it.
There's a poignancy in those shoes. Are our children ever going to have that kind of life where they go romping through a forest? Are those the ghosts of our children in the future? Or are those trees just going to be cut down, or are they going to fall down because of climate change? I'm involved with Stop HS2, and they are cutting down ancient woodlands and trees just like this one for a railway line to save 20 minutes of time. And it's the largest deforestation project in Europe. It's the largest use of concrete in Europe at the moment. And all of that ecocide just for 20 minutes of time, it just seems ludicrous. The recent news that we've had of the temperatures in the Arctic Circle, it tends to make me think that we are in a situation of being out of control now. Climate change is accelerating, but I'm afraid the response is not accelerating.
We want to honour and remember those who died for us in the war, and we're particularly concerned about our children's futures, and they died for us to give us a better future.
Those people who were making all those sacrifices were doing it for a world that was more peaceful, but also a more secure world. And at the moment, climate change is the biggest threat to our futures, our children's futures.
I'm a GP and I also work with a local charity in West Africa. The current COVID pandemic has shown us how interrelated we are globally, And the same applies to the effects of climate change. While the effects will be more slow burning than COVID, in the long run, they will be much greater.
I have tried individually to do as much as I can in terms of adjusting the things that we do in the household, thinking about my travel to work, but actually recognising that that's just not enough. You know, it's important, but it's just not enough. And what really appealed to me about XR is that it is really focusing all its energy at government and at the system.
Seeing all the shoes laid out gives me the same kind of feeling that I get seeing fields of poppies or the fields of crosses in France. It's a feeling of something lost or a wasted opportunity.
Seeing those children's shoes can create real sadness, but actually that also is a motivating force to make a difference and be part of a group that can make a difference.
Within South Gloucestershire, each year 135 people die due to air pollution. Small particulate matter in the air from traffic pollution causes things like asthma attacks and heart attacks and deaths linked to stroke and lung disease.
I feel very sad for the people that are represented here today by the shoes. But I'm a member of Christian Climate Action, which is an offshoot of Extinction Rebellion. And I think that as a Christian, I need to be part of protecting that world that the Lord created. We only have one world. There is no planet B. Our grandchildren are going to inherit a world that we've damaged, and we need to replace that damage by direct action.
We can make a choice now. Are our children's shoes going to be filled with children who are going to grow up and wear those shoes out? Or are the shoes, these empty shoes, going to become memorials to our children's future?
I have quite a strong emotional reaction to seeing the shoes. I think about all that is born and all of our children and the children of all species. And I do think about my children, and I think about all the children I love, because I know the horrific truth is that they might not see a full adulthood in a 4 degrees world.
What's really shocking is that no human being has ever lived in the world that we now inhabit. We have changed our climate so much. We now live in a different world, and we are sending our children into an unknown future. We can't offset our way out of this. We have to stop emitting CO2, and we have to start taking it out of the atmosphere. That's what we have to do. We know that. What we don't know is how we do it politically. The problems our governments face is, what action do they think we as citizens are prepared to take? And so that's why we need the Citizens' Assembly, so that we legitimise those radical actions that are needed.
I'm utterly heartbroken about what that means for the reality of life, for the community of life that we abundantly exist in right now, and that is so beautiful, and never more so in the eyes of a child, right? So I just find it incredibly painful to see these shoes, and a really important reminder.
The point of the labyrinth is that you can enter from the right or the left, and you'll walk around the labyrinth, but we'll all end up together in the centre. Some of the shoes are tiny, age 2. I think a child age 2, when they're my age, the year will be 2090. And we don't really talk about what it's going to be like in 2090. We think 2050 is far enough ahead, and that's it, you know.
I've lived here most of my 67 years. There's floods nearly every year in Tewkesbury, but there'd never been a bad flood till 2007, not one that cut off Tewkesbury. And since then, we've had another bad flood. Most of the houses around the Abbey, the car parks, all this area, was all flooded under a metre or two of water. According to government figures, they expect rainfall to increase by 37% over the next 20 or 30 years due to climate change. So it means that the floods in Tewkesbury are likely to happen as a regular occurrence. There's going to be people who won't be able to afford to live in their homes any longer because they'll be flooded every few years.
We don't know really what is in the centre of the labyrinth. Is it going to be our dead tree, or is it going to be a new world?
We've got this beautiful world, we've got this beautiful country, this beautiful county of Gloucestershire, and this is all going to change unless we do something about it soon. And I don't think most people are taking that on seriously enough. I suppose people feel disempowered, and that is what exile has done to me. I feel it's given me some power, and it's given me some hope. We have to somehow stop climate change. We've got all the resources to do it. We've got the knowledge to do it. We're just not active. We can't wait 10 years. We have to start now.